This is my 5-star artifact tier list, not including limited or collab artifacts. First up we have Little Queen's Huge Crown. Not a great artifact, much better options, but it is a backup option if you don't have any other damage artifacts for your single target damage dealer. Next up we have Abyssal Crown. Definitely have two of these at least, because an Effectiveness Politis or Harseti can use these. Those are the two main users. Don't see many other people able to use this. Air to Surface Missile, Misha, Niche. It's basically a worse symbol of unity, pretty much, for rangers only. So if you need another symbol on the ranger, then that's your next option. Alabastron, just a bad artifact. It has some effectiveness, so it could be a stat stick for one of your thieves, but other than that, it has not much other usage. Alentinox's Wrath used to be okay on just Alencia. No one else can really use this, but Alencia has better artifacts such as Prayer of Solitude or even Sweet Miracle, because it gives you 10% health. But if you don't have those, I guess there's like your only option, so I'll just leave this in the niche tier for now. Alexa's Basket, I'd say 2 to 3, because mainly Arbiter Vildred uses this. That's the main user, but then there are a few other thieves that can use it, like Spirit Eye Celine, even though it's not that good on her, or maybe even BBK, but she has better options as well, so still leave it in 2 to 3 tier because of the RB plus extra options for the 2 and 3. Then we have an Assassin's Pledge, Robin's artifact. It's a good stat stick, but it's really only going to be used on Robin because she's the only ranger that burns at this point, I think. But the effectiveness is a nice stat stick to have as well, so yeah. Elagos's artifact, it's basically only used on Elagos. If you don't use Elagos, then it probably goes into like one of these tiers, but let's assume that you use Elagos a lot. I'll put him in 1 because it's basically the Elagos artifact, basically the only one he uses, so yeah. Ancient Dragon's Legacy, Mort artifact, I'm just gonna put it in bad, even though it technically can be used on Mort, but he's just way better on Holy Sack. And maybe Crimson Armin, but that's just so cope, like, just, yeah, don't do that. Bastion of Pelusia, I'd say 1, a really good artifact for knights, gives another unit in the backline immunity and a shield, and the wearer itself, so you don't have to build immunity on the knight. Mostly used on ML Senya, but could be used on stuff like A Tywin as well, but nobody uses A Tywin anymore, so. And Senya also has 3F as alternative, and Holy Sack as alternative artifacts, so still I'll just put it in 1 because it's a pretty solid artifact for if you want to give a unit immunity, yeah. Beguiling Wings, Elvira artifact, goes with bad or niche. Put it in niche because if you don't have anything else to use, this is what I just slap on for a stat stick as well. I think it gives effect resistance a little bit, so I'll just put it here. Bird's Eye View, probably only need 1 of these, maybe 2. I think 1 is enough for now. Like, sure, a lot of Soul Weavers can use this, but like there are way better options for those Soul Weavers most of the time. So yeah, probably only see Frida using this a lot. Other than that, I don't see anyone else really using this, like, as a must-have for that Soul Weaver. Black Hand of the Goddess, I'd say it's a pretty bad artifact, but it's a stat stick again. So, but thing is, if you can build a unit properly, you probably don't want a stat stick. But since it is a stat stick, it's an option if you don't have great gear. So just leave it in niche. Bloodstone, definitely have 1 because it's amazing for PvE, and that's basically it. And you only need 1 because you can just keep rotating it between wherever you need to use it. Mine is mainly just stuck on my Bomb Model Kana right now for the green expedition. But if I need it somewhere else, I'll just move it onto the other PvE unit. Could be used in PvP as well, but I don't really see Bloodstone being used that much. Like, Bloodstone Flan is like the only other place you'll see it being used in PvP. Bloody Rose, I think it's a bad artifact, but again, I think it's a stat stick that gives some effectiveness, so I'll just leave it in niche. Border Coin, kind of useless artifact, but if you have no other options for stuff like Surmia might be useful. But really, this artifact is pretty bad, so I'm just gonna leave it in here. Broken World of Priest. It's damage. It's an artifact for damaging knights like Mort, but again, Mort is better than Holy Sack. I guess it's decent if you want to have like an RNG chance to hit fire units like Flan. Increased RNG chance. That's the only place I see it being used, in like arena defenses or Guild War defenses for Mort. That's only like just RNG checking the opponent and praying for a win. So I just leave it in niche because of that usage. Celestine, definitely keep at least one. It's good on a bruiser ML haste build, a counter ML haste build, and that's basically like where it's mainly used most of the time. But there are some Soul Weavers that can use it, like Ainos, because she really only has S3 and then she does S1s rest of the time. And it's always an option for Soul Weavers because you'll have to use skill 1 at some point, and the extra healing is nice. Circus Fantasia, it's a stat stick again for effectiveness, I believe. So it's really only used on ML Lilius because of that. So goes in here. Creation and Destruction. Meme Strays builds, that's about it. But does that justify being put into niche? I'd say no. You're better off not using this on Strays, even though it's a meme. Funny meme. This is just bad. Don't use this. Crown of Glory. It's good on it's a good AoE mitigation, so if you're making like a dedicated AoE anti-AoE mitigation knight like LRK, ML Crow, then this is good to have one copy of and just keep on your Crow in case your opponent picks like 3 or more AoE units in RTA. Cradle of Life, basically useless artifact. I think that's Sigrid's artifact. Dark Blood, Keeper, Genoa's artifact. I really don't think this is great, but if you don't have anything else, another option for some units, then yeah. It's like if you don't have enough Wind Riders and you don't want to give your Genoa one of the Wind Riders or something, I guess it's okay, but not really great. Dignus Orb, no. I think this is the artifact that gives you a shield when you do non-attack skill on a mage. It's a mage artifact, so I think that's pretty useless. Doctor's Bag, definitely have at least one, maybe even two. Like, who really uses this? Elena, but Elena usually needs Tome because you need some more otherwise you have to build her like giga fast with lots of ER, which is hard. So like I guess ML Dominion can use this, the light Dominion, but I guess just put in one for now because you really don't need that many Doctor's Bags. Double Edge of the Crescent, just one for your counter, just for like RNG chance to counter for like a BBK or even Kid Aiden and Rylet, some meme Rylet builds. I mean, lots of thieves can use this, but it's not their best option usually. That's why I would just leave it in one for now. Durandal, keep one. Decent artifact for Dilibet if she's built slow. It's also a backup artifact for some other warriors if you don't have their best in slot artifacts, like maybe ML Shu. If you don't have Sweet Miracle, then you can run Durandal instead. Dux Noctis. This is a good PvE artifact, so I'll put in one. Like, whenever you need like a high DPS ranger for PvE content, this is basically the default artifact you use on them, because it just increases your damage so much over time. Elbrus, this fell off quite a bit. Like, this used to be put on almost every single knight in the game, but now you really only need like 1 or 2 of these artifacts, so I'll just put in this tier. Like, only really ML Landy uses this, but you don't really see ML Landy anywhere anyway. Then probably AU Fane is probably the second most used, but even then, Holy Sack is probably better, or even the Aureus mitigation builds. So, oh yeah, Bellion, but 3F Bellion is way better than Elbrus Crit Bellion. So this artifact really fell off a lot, especially because of all the anti-counter units these days as well, like Mort, especially Mort, and even stuff like ML Somia. So yeah, just really lost a lot of value, but still a decent artifact. Elegiac Candle, just one for It works on Narqual, skill 3, potential defense breaks on everyone, but nobody really uses Narqual nowadays. And also ML Politis, if you want your S1 to be a 50% chance of defense break into dual attack. Yeah. Next up we have Edgar. Probably put it in the 1 tier because it's useful for the PvE mages like Baal and Tenebria. Also can be used on a slow, high HP ML Luna build, but usually Book is still better in most cases, so it's still usable here and there, so definitely deserves the 1 tier. Glow Wings, pretty useless artifact. I'm gonna just go ahead and put it in bad. I don't really see this being used on anyone, even though it got buffed, even though I feel like the buff didn't do anything. Goblet of Oath, I think that's a useless artifact, just gonna put it straight into bad. Golden Rose, definitely 2 to 3. Can be used on Dilibet, can be used on ML Sumia. Those are the 2 main users, but basically any warrior, damage dealing warrior, that does not scale with attack uses Golden Rose. Holy Sack, the first artifact to go into 3+ tier. This is like probably the best non-limited artifact in the game. Can be used on like basically every single knight. Aeufine, Crow, Yoha, Mort, and the list goes on. Like those are just a few examples. ML Senya. Yeah, this is just such a good artifact, but the problem is that you want it to be plus 30. So the way I would go about this is, if I had multiple of these artifacts, I would keep 2, and then every extra artifact I get after that, I would feed into 1 until it's plus 30. Then I would keep a third one once I have 1 that's plus 30, and keep feeding any extras into the second one, for example. You get the idea. So this is a really, really good artifact. If you pull this off banner, then that's really good for you. Homage to Tarman, it's basically budget Guardian Ice Crystal, but since we just got the Ice Crystal banner like not long ago, I'd say this is niche because everybody should have at least 1 copy of that already. So yeah, you should be using that over this. Idol's Cheer, definitely keep at least 1. It can be used for some unexpected builds in RTA where they try to kill your Soul Weaver, but you have them tanky and they just hit it and push up your DPS unit. So very nice to have, and has some PvE usage as well, depending on the content. Gators, this is just a PvE artifact for for Holiday Eufine, and I don't really see it being used on anyone else, so I'll just keep it niche since it's only a PvE artifact right now for Holiday Eufine. Iron Fan, I think this is a useless artifact. Justice for All, useless. Knowledge Seed, it's like a meme unit. It's a meme artifact to put on like Hasedi on Guild War defense. That's the only place I see it. So because of that, I just put it on niche. Last Tea Time, useless. Lethal Whispers, Setsuka's, the new thief, best in slot artifact. So might have some usage on some other thieves as well, but we'll have to test that out. But definitely deserves 1 for the 1 tier for the Setsuka usage. Manaka, it's a stat stick, so I just put it here. Merciless Glutton, definitely good for like MLTU, maybe even a green Eufine. So bridge your team by killing 1 unit basically, and increase damage on single attacks. Noble Oath, just the Bronca artifact. Proof of Love, I think this artifact's pretty bad, so I'll just leave it here. Pure White Trust, it is a crit stat stick, but the only Soul Weaver that actually wants crit is Fene, and Fene is better on other artifacts like Victorious Flag, so nobody will use this artifact. Pure White Trust, it's like a soul generating artifact, I think, and it also gives you crit damage on a non-attack. So I guess Zahak could use it, but he's better on like Symbol usually for the 70% hit chance. And ML Sumia can use it, but she's just better on Golden Rose, so it's just a backup artifact. And also needs a plus 30 to be 100% consistent, so I don't really like artifacts like that. Renewed Will, I think this is a 2 to 3, mainly because of the fact that you need to be fast to use it effectively, like 100% efficiently. And also you need to have this artifact plus 30 for it to be consistent. So, but it's definitely a really good artifact, so 2 to 3 tier. RNL, just one copy is good enough. Usually used for RNG wins on defense, such like Broken Will of the Priest for the 20% hit chance and more, so you can hit 5 land 20% of the time. Same with RNL. You can potentially proc and win a defense because of an RNL proc on your BBK on defense, for example. So yeah, that's basically the main use of that. Rise of a Monarch, basically an ML Ilanav artifact only because she's the only knight that can really use it well, but she cycles a lot. But even then, the Aureus build is probably just way better than this build for now. But I'll just leave it in 1, but it is still a decent artifact for her. Rod of Amaryllis, just a PvE artifact for healing. You only need 1. This artifact is a stat stick, but it's not really a good stat stick. Just crit chance and crit resist, I believe. So I just leave it in here. Sacred Tree Branch, really good for ML Sharoon and Sharoon. Basically the 2 main users. Gives effectiveness and pushes your highest attack ally up every time you take a turn on those 2 units, basically, because all their skills are attacks. Samsara Prayer Beads. It's a backup damage dealing artifact for single target damage dealer if you have nothing else. Scroll of Shadows. Basically only used on blue Arya, but even then she has the Fairy Tale of a Nightmare, which is the limited tea time or Fairy Tale Tenebria artifact is just better on her, so you don't really... This is just a backup for if you don't have that artifact, basically. So niche tier. Secret Art Stormsword. This is like a really good artifact for defense, especially because if usually when they want to cleave, they use non-attack skills, and this will push up your, for example, ML Celine or Renak even to push above their non-attack skill pushes. So you take the turn before they get to do their full combo and interrupt them and kill them, basically. It's also good on Celine, of course, since it's Celine's artifact, and it's a must-have for Celine. So the fact that it's a must-have Celine already puts it in the 1 tier, but since it has use cases outside of that, it goes into 2 to 3 tier. Shepherd, definitely good artifact for multiple thieves. BBK, Kid Aiden, Rylet, so many thieves. So, but they do have other options as well, so because of that, I'll just leave it in the 2 to 3 tier for now. Shamadra Staff, just keep 1. It's an AoE, it's basically a mini Bastion of Hope that gives effect res to your whole team, and also gives you a bit of extra healing on all sources, by the way, so it includes lifesteal and everything, yeah. So pretty good artifact, but you only need 1 copy. Next up we have Sigurd Scythe, definitely a 2 to 3 artifact, very good artifact. Most relevant user of it right now is ML Huayang. Can also be used by less relevant units like ML Bellona, ML Ken, Fire Ravi, for example. But because of the fact that it's a must-have on ML Huayang and she's so good right now, and the fact that it can be so flexible on other attack scaling warriors, then this definitely deserves a 2 to 3 tier. Next up we have Snow Crystal. Niche artifact. I think it's mainly used for defenses in Guild Wars and stuff. So when they miss a crit on you because of the crit resistance, you get pushed up and then you can interrupt them, basically. Yeah. After that, Song of Stars, PvE artifact. Definitely only need 1. Basically only used in expeditions where you have a ranger, and in Wyvern where you just put on Furious for extra debuffs. Still just a one-of artifact for PvE. Spatio Temporal Fan, just a one-of artifact. Good for PvP defenses where you have like a fast ML Politis and you want to hide stealth your highest attack unit, usually like a BBK or something like that. Yeah, nice artifact to have one of. Spear, I think it's a one-of artifact as well. It's basically used for interrupting a non-attack like an ML Luna cleave with your cleanser like ML Pera or ML Kawarik or something like that. And that's about it. Spear of a New Dawn. It's a must-have for Green Senya, but Green Senya is not really a unit, so it goes into the niche tier. Sphere of Inferno, Bihu's artifact. Not really good artifact, even for... Like, there's better options even for Bihu, so... But it is an option for him, so I just leave it in the niche tier because of that. Sword of Autumn Eclipse, trash artifact. Spirit's Breath, after the nerf to Spirit's Breath, probably put in a low, like, I don't really see anyone using it nowadays, so I'll just put it in the niche tier. Alabastron, didn't I already do this? I swear to god. Oh, wait, why am I looking at the bad artifacts? Sphere of Sadism, Yoha's artifact, but she's just better on Holy Sacrifice normally. But if you don't have Holy Sac, this is her next best option, so I'll just leave this here. Stellar Harper, good to have one of. Don't really see it being used anywhere in PvP, honestly. But for some PvE stages, I can see it being useful. Like the Water Constellation. I kind of use this to get rid of the stigma. So kind of nice artifact. Sword of Judgment, it's the 5-star ranger version of Dust Devil. But Dust Devil is bad, and this artifact is even worse because it's for rangers, and rangers have so many good artifacts like Guiding Light and Renewed Will. So yeah, just no one ever uses this. Thorn of the Blue Rose, must have at least one of these for your Red Crow, because it gives him the Soul Burn for the one-shot potential, and also backup option for ML Arya if you don't have the Prayer of Solitude limited artifact. So really nice artifact to have, and also the only artifact to have a defense stat bonus instead of HP. Nice to have. Time Matter, these days just kind of useless artifacts, so just put in bad. Touch of Rekos, there's like budget Guardian Ice Crystal again, but heals the whole team when you get hit instead of when they go low. So it's an alternative, so I think it's nice to have one of these. Twilight Calamity, trash stat stick artifact. Tyrant's Descent, there's like a Cane artifact, but it doesn't really do it. Like, it's just not good. It's just like a rage set on an artifact for warriors, which is kind of useless, like even for PvE. So just bad tier. Uberius Tooth, definitely 2 to 3 tier, because MLPera uses it, Miki uses it, and those are the two main users. But there are some meme builds that can use that as well, like just the attack stacking ML Ken build, for example. But yeah, just because of the two main users, MLPera and Amiki, it's definitely a 2 to 3 tier artifact. Umbral, one is enough, mainly used for just ML Tenebria, especially good when paired with like a fast opener with an extra turn like Rand, Blue Pera, or Renak, because it instantly gives your Tenebria the push from Umbral, which is nice. Sort of Winter Shadow, niche or bad? It is a soul generating artifact for thieves, so I'll just put a niche tier, but other than that, that's the main usage. The other stuff doesn't really matter that much. Sort of Summer Twilight, it's a AoE defense penetration artifact, I think, but I really don't see anyone using this even for AoE damaging thieves, so I just put in niche because it is a secondary option for them. Unseen Observer, nice to have one of for like, I use this a lot on my Sea Phantom Politis with my Genoa, so when my Sea Phantom Politis goes, gives my fast Genoa a rage, and also 10 souls for his Gab Soulburn. Very nice combo with those two. Violet Talisman, it takes too long to charge up. You need to take, 2 turns before you get evasion and attack, compared to like something like Shepherd, where it just gives you 20% damage and 20% evasion straight away. Like, if you don't take a single turn, you don't get even a bit of evasion from this, so it just takes way too long to charge up. So definitely putting in the bad tier. My bad. That's not niche, it's bad. Wind Rider, 3+, the second 3+ tier artifact, because basically any thief can use this, and it's just so good on them. It gives them so much damage, especially when they go into stealth, and the fact that it gives you stealth means that it gives those thieves so much safety as well. So definitely 3+, like basically any thief you name it, like Tori, Spirit Isolene, Genoa, BBK. I mean, BBK not as much, but you get my point. Like basically any damage thief can use this artifact. It's so insane. And this is just a stat stick artifact for knights, but there are barely any crit scaling damage based knights in the game that would want to use this. I mean, okay, so Mort, ML Landy, damage Ilanav, but like this artifact is just a waste. It's just better to get all your stats from gear and use like a way better artifact that enables them more. So once again, this is my entire 5-star artifact tier list for non-limited, non-collab artifacts, and I hope you liked my explanations, and I'll see you in the next one.